Yo, welcome to the New Normal Podcast, a place where we talk about what's really real. Today, we got a deep topic, and I got a special guest with me. Um, we're going to be referring to her as Cherish today because it's a very near and dear topic, but she said she wanted to talk about it. Um, She's not on camera, but she's sitting beside me. So if you guys can't see her, but she's right in studio with me. But like she said, it's a lot of stuff that went on with her and her family. So she just wants to make sure that she's not seen and no one knows her. And of course, I'm gonna be the biggest podcast in Birmingham, so y'all already know how that is. How that's gonna be. Hold on, to make sure my privacy is public, because for some reason my when I go live, for some reason it's been acting weird. So how we got on this? Oh, Cherish, say hey to everybody.
Hey everyone.
So how we got on this topic, and Cherish, correct me if I'm wrong, but we got on this topic because hold on, we got on this topic because I made a video, and the video was talking about did your mother make you get on birth control, and that topic led us to talking about a lot of things that happened with her and her family, mother issues, father issues, stepfather issues, and also trickle down to, I guess, mother daughter issues too as well.
Correct.
And so how we got on it, she told me that she got pregnant without without having intercourse. Is that correct?
Well, it was a failed attempt.
So she got pregnant through a failed attempt.
It was my first time, probably my first semester in college, and the act was not really completed. But however, I got pregnant. My hymen was not torn, but I guess what they taught us in health class is real.
So you say you got pregnant without having sex, correct? Oh, there was sex.
It was an attempt at having sex for my first time.
Okay.
Hymen was not torn because I didn't want to complete the act.
Okay.
Because I still was scared.
Okay.
However, I guess sperm travels like a fan.
They definitely told us that.
So it was one of those things. So I was a year out of high school, first year into college.
Mm-hmm.
And with that attempt, the doctor did confirm that I was still a virgin, but I was pregnant.
Wow. How did that go telling your mother?
It didn't go very well at all. First off, let me say my mother was a teenage mom. She had me at the exact same age of 19.
Mm-hmm.
However, when she was told, and I was told that this was the situation, I was told that I was a pregnant virgin and I couldn't do anything right.
That what your mother told you?
Yes.
You were a pregnant virgin,
Yes.
and you couldn't do anything right.
And I couldn't do anything right. And that stems, so, that was a very hurtful thing. Our relationship already was not the best because in my eyes, I couldn't do anything right. Being the older child, back in my era, some people don't understand that a lot of pressure is put on the oldest to be the other parent, or is expected to take care of everyone else and do everything for everyone else that you lose yourself. So when you're trying in that situation, you're trying to please your parents the best way you know how.
Right.
And then to be told you can't do anything right, it makes you feel just so small.
Right. I got you. So, but before that, how was you and your mom relationship?
It was very strange. Once I got out on my own, I stayed away as much as possible. It makes you really, I would say this. I wanted to do things the right way. I did have one child out of wedlock, and I got married early, had another child. It made me, all I knew was how to be a parent. We can go back to, because being that older child, having to take care of siblings, cook, clean at a very early age, cooking at 12 years old, helping everybody with their homework, so it pushes you. I had no childhood. It just made me, push me to be something that I didn't know myself.
So how's you and your mother relationship now? Have y'all ever tried to mend y'all relationship or what? Because for some reason it seems like a lot of women that I've dated have strained relationships with their mother, and it seems like a common thing. Why do you think that is?
It's very strained. It's very hard. I've tried so many times for so many years, and I'm the type of person. Some people might say the peacemaker. It's not that I'm the peacemaker. It's just like, I want to have this conversation with you to let you know why I am the way I am, and the boundaries that were not set that caused me to be the way I am.
Mm-hmm.
But the defense always comes up. Like, it's never
her fault.
Her fault.
Oh, okay. So did she try to blame you for a lot of stuff that happened, even though you were a child?
Most definitely, all the time.
All the time. So you said the reason we're talking now, because you said sometimes your relationship with your daughter is strained at times, and you told me the other day that you were trying to mend that relationship. So how's that going?
Thank God it's going. It's really good. It's because I'm putting in the effort, because some people don't believe in generational curses or things of that nature. I don't want her to be a me, and I want us to have that bond, that bond that you can always come to me and talk to me about anything. I don't have that with my mom, because when I do try to talk to her about anything, or if it's something that strikes a nerve, then it starts in a screaming match. We can't sit down like you and I are talking and respect each other. You say what you say, and then I respond. Or just say, well, this is how this made me feel, or this is why I am the way I am.
So what hurdles did you and your daughter have to overcome?
I basically had to, one, accept her for who she really is, even though, I raised her. Our personalities are totally different, so we're like oil and water. I had to realize that she's not a teenager or a child under my roof anymore. She is a grown woman that does not really know how to express herself, but I had to sit back with a lot of prayer and just say, how can I, kind of bond with her on her level without it being a screaming match. So what I started to do was, sometimes when she's yelling or having those fits, I'll just sit quietly, let her get everything out, and then once she gets over that, then we'll talk about it. So she noticed that I was doing that, and it kind of started opening the door for her to talk to me.
Oh man! So have y'all ever tried to go to counseling together?
I have tried to go to counseling with my mom, my daughter. I've asked her. Now that I'm glad you asked that question. Some people may not believe this, but in our culture, some people still think it's just so taboo
to go to counseling.
Right. But counseling saved my life, because it was to a point when I was going to counseling early in life, nobody knew. Because if you told somebody you're going to counseling, they automatically think it's a crazy type thing or something of that nature, and it's not. Here I am, an older woman, but middle aged, and still having problems with things that I thought was resolved and gone, but it attacks me in my sleep, in my everyday life. It makes you very recluse. You're very careful with who you let around, what type of energy you have around you. It makes you very misunderstood as well, because people just don't get it. She's so standoffish, and that's further from the truth. But when you go through so many things and you have to be so responsible at such a young age, it makes it hard for you like to trust and do things. And I just want to better my life with my relationship with my daughter, so that same thing won't continue.
So, what are a few things that you learned about yourself in therapy?
I learned that
if you don't mind sharing, I don't want to get, if it's too personal, just always let me know.
No, that's great that you asked that, because early on, like we would have to go back to me being 5 years old to actually for you to understand this situation. At 5 years old, from the age of say 5 to 10 years old. My mother met a man. My father was no longer in the picture and did not live in the state where I live. And this particular man was a pedophile. And I always say he was never there for my mom. He was a pedophile. Like, the reason I can say that now is because I'm an adult and I know the signs and I know the things. Like, he was very abusive to my mom, but it's like things you need to look out for as parents with men. I can't even say that's not the child's father. You just have to watch your children, period. Male or male. Let me just clear that. And when she met this man, all I could remember, like to this day, I can't remember anything before 5 years old.
So that trauma is like ingrained. It's like when life kind of started or stopped for you.
Right, it kind of stopped for me.
So life stopped for you?
Yes, and all I can remember is him knocking on the door one day, and he had this particular candy. He had something for me, not for her. And she let him in. And to this day, if I see that particular candy in the store, it triggers me. I didn't even know these things about myself. Like, and once she let him in, all I can remember is he started living there. And he would do weird things like want to comb my hair. What man would want to comb a little girl's hair, and what mother would allow them? I'm not a dog, so that's one thing. Another thing is, like I said, back then it wasn't talked about. So you never came to me and said, like, I didn't even know what the word molested meant, you know? Or I knew, but human nature makes you know when something is wrong. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's touching you, you know it's wrong. You don't know the word for it. But when I was raised, you were raised not to talk about what goes on in your house. Right. Don't tell nobody what's going on in the house. Right. And I also was told that if I told anyone, he was going to kill my mom and my family. That was your stepdad told you? My stepfather. And I was the only child. Hold on. So your stepfather told you if you told anyone, he was going to kill your mom and you? Yeah, the rest of my family. At the time, I was the only child. So I'm much older than my siblings. So at the time, I was the only child. And my mother worked a lot of night shifts, and I was left alone with this man. And for the life of me, I don't understand that still to this day. But some people, I don't know. You know how the saying people say hurt people hurt people. Yeah. I don't know what happened to this man. Yeah. Something had to have happened to this person, because it went on for years where he would do certain things to me. And like I said, I didn't have any siblings or anything at that time. And it went on for a total of 5 years. And like I have a block, like I said, I can't remember. In that span, I can remember that. Yeah. Without, my thing is, I went to counseling, and so I'm like, I don't even think about this. So why is this still happening? So they explained to me about your subconscious. So I feel like, some people say it happened so long ago, just forget about it. It's easier said than done because you're not doing it to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like,
People that haven't went through it, it's easy to tell somebody to get over something you haven't went through, experience, know about, seen, because they don't have those internalizations of certain things. Just like if those same people tell you to get over something, it's probably something that's still nagging at them that somebody else don't know. So, and they think in their mind sometimes like I should just be able to get over it, so I'm gonna tell somebody else just to get over it as well.
Correct. And so, it was, the signs were there as far as that something was wrong with me because I had very bad anxiety as a child. Mm-hmm. I was very like scared, like if somebody even fussed around me.
Like you were fidgety, I was skittish.
Yeah, and her friends and family used to ask what's wrong with her. You need to get her checked out. Like the signs were there, like they were screaming. But unfortunately, I'm just gonna say this. It's a generational curse. Nobody talks about it. Unfortunately, my grandmother said that her stepfather raped her at 16, and her mom didn't believe her, and she left. Then she left the house ever since then. So what I'm saying is, if these things always go untalked about, they're gonna continue. Mm. All I can say is generational curse. I mean, because I question all the time why, like why. So it made me very, even when I did get married, it still made me very like aware, cautious. My ex-husband could not go to either of my kids' room. Don't even knock on the door. What do you need? Let me know. Mm-hmm. How.
So that's a good question. So you were molested by a step parent. How did you overcome the fear of that not happening to one of your children when you got married?
I didn't overcome the fear. That's why I'm saying. Like,
so why did you do it?
And that's my thing, because at the time back then, I wanted to not be the person that just. I asked myself that, but I wanted to get out of my mom's house. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna say I didn't want my children, because children are a blessing. But at that time, the only way I knew how to get out the house was to marry. That's the way I was brought up, and marry and go out the house, because
leave and cleave.
Yes. Yeah. And it's just like I wasn't very strong. Back then, like I am now, where I could take up for myself and say what I want and do what I want. I guess I was more so. It made me more passive than what I really was, like who I really am back then. It made me have very low self-esteem and things of that nature, and I was just trying to recreate the family that I wish I would have had. That's the only way I can explain it.
So you say you were trying to recreate the family you were trying to recreate the family you envisioned yourself in having.
Right.
Did you succeed in that?
No. Unfortunately not. I actually really realized through counseling that I just married different versions of my molester.
Wow.
Which is very hard, but it's so true. Different versions of my molester.
Wow,
that's a deep.
That's crazy. Like, yes. Not saying you're crazy, but I'm saying the situation is crazy.
It is.
Wow, I never heard that, but I guess it's kind of like Stockholm syndrome a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Like he's so brainwashed into stuff. I really believe that he would do it because I've seen the things that he was capable of. Mm-hmm. And by being the only child at the time, grandparents older, lived in fear every day. Mm-hmm. It was to the point where even my mother couldn't go to the bathroom without me following her. Those are signs. But you're hollering at me, stop following me around the house, stop following me everywhere you go. Mm-hmm. But if a child is following you inside their home, mm-hmm. to another, just every little space you go, the signs are there.
Mm. Were you following your mother around the house so your stepfather couldn't be left alone with you?
Correct.
Oh, I got you.
Because it didn't matter if she was there or not, he still would do certain things. And I also would like the audience to know, Some people feel like if you weren't penetrated or things like that, that's not molestation. Please get that out your head, because I had to get a lot of counseling behind that. I learned that it could be verbiage, it could just be feels, it could be touches. There are a lot of things that happen to me that's just too sick for me to even talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that it shouldn't be just a taboo subject, and that people should talk about it more, because a lot of times that's where a lot of our mental illnesses may come from, or just certain things would make people so misunderstood, and people might be like, "Oh, something wrong with that. She crazy. She this, that, and the other." And it's not that. It's just that you didn't have that go-to.
So, where did you get the strength to be able to talk about something as serious as molestation? Because I know a lot of people like to, especially in the Black community, like to push stuff like that up under the rug. And like you said, it just generational curse, or it's a cycle that continues to happen. So what gives you the strength to talk about it?
I'm going to tell you, take a lot of prayer, but I got tired of having nightmares and stopped trying to hide my truth, because I'm worried about what my family think about me and why she's this way. So therapy really pushed me to speak my truth, because and let me know that my worth, and know that it needs to be talked about. It needs to be shared. You might help that one person. I just met an older lady, someone who's 13 years older than me, and she called me to do something for her. And how we got on the subject, I can't tell. And that was just 2 days ago. And she was talking about how her mom lives in a different city from her. And her and her youngest sister were forced to move with her mom into another state with a stepdad. And both of them were the same way. And it just it triggered something in me. And I ended up staying on the phone with this lady till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, I'm younger, but see how I helped, I helped it. And it was so weird to me, but it was just like me talking back to myself. And it makes you think like, wow, like how many more people, it's like.
It's just saying that the studies and the statistics, it's really like half of the people in America have been, I think it's like 60% of girls and like 50% of boys.
And that's so sad.
That's sad.
That is very sad, because it shapes us. Like, I really didn't know who I was younger. I was just going through the motions. All I knew is I felt like what it made me feel like. I'm gonna be honest. I used to always have, but never have children. But I told you what happened to me the first time. So and that particular child was gonna be the only child until I was told, when you get married, you have to have like I said, see, here I am still letting others
dictate
my life. And I just wanted to get away, and I thought that marriage was the way. That's not the answer to everything, because it just caused more problems, because I wasn't whole, I wasn't healed, and a lot of abuse and things took place in that.
So, when you were dating, before you married your husband, you already had a child. What made you feel secure in him that he would not molest your child that you already had before him?
Daddy issues. Because I really, when I did see my dad 6 weeks out of the month, he would always ride me around and be like, what's wrong? Because I think his wife would tell him something's not right with her. You need to speak with her. But I was so afraid to say anything even far away, because I knew things were happening to my mom at home.
Yeah.
It's like a true Lifetime movie, but when you don't have anyone in your corner and you're taught to hold everything in, one day pressure bust pipes is gonna happen. And now that's what's happening with me.
Yeah, this is like deep. Like I said, we had talks in passing, and like I said, the reason that we're having these talks now because they've come up because of previous videos I've done and talks I've done. Um, you and your father, your biological father, how was your relationship?
When I was younger, I just put him on a pedestal like he was my king because I wanted that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I looked at a video one time and a pastor was saying that a daughter, your father is the first man that you're supposed to fall in love with, and that you're not supposed to run after him. He's supposed to teach you how a man's supposed to treat you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unfortunately, he wasn't in the same state with me. So we used to be really close, I thought, but today we don't even talk.
Is he still alive?
He is.
Why y'all don't talk now?
Some people might say I'm stubborn, but it's not that. It's just when I told him my truth, the stuff that I'm sharing with the world right now today.
Mm-hmm.
He has another family, and basically, I was told, and that's not that I'm trying to break up your family, but I'm your first child, and I needed you, and I needed you, then. But I was just told, they're his first priority. So that made me feel really unwanted, and that I'm just really taking up space. So at this point, I'm so grown to the point where I'm just like, stop trying to fight all of these battles. Like I have to just, for once, I'm trying to find me, and I just have to. I love him, I do, but I've learned my trigger points. I've learned how to set boundaries, and I've learned how to just start accepting things for what they really are, and not take the blame anymore. Because when most of the time, when male or female, if you're molested, you're gonna always think it's your fault. Mm-hmm. Anything, not just the molestation, anything that happens, you think it's your fault, and it kind of makes you a people pleaser. Well, I'm not that anymore. So that was, yeah.
I have a cousin, and my cousin, it's like a family secret. And my uncle has a kid, and everybody knows about this kid except for his two kids that he have. And it was always told to us to keep that a secret. I don't even know why, but I think a lot of it, and I hope they ain't watch it, was because of his wife. And I think that is the issue with that. And so to maybe just recently, I think she just stopped like calling the house, and she's older than me. I'm 33, so, and I'll be 34 this year, so I'm pretty sure she like 37. And she just recently, I guess, stopped. She has two kids on her own, just recently got married. And it got so bad to the point where my cousin asked one of our other cousins, and she said, I told him to ask his daddy, and he went and asked his daddy and said no. Then I said, we all had a group discussion. I said, well, if our cousin come and tell us this, I'm going to tell her. Because that is your sister. And it was so bad that she would come spend the night at my house. She would come spend the night at my auntie house. But then when my uncle found out that my mama and my auntie, his sisters, were still dealing with his child, that he know his child, DNA test, paying child support, all this, he got upset and want to keep his other two kids away, right? So one day we at the house, my grandma's house, and everybody know this big secret or whatever. And so my auntie had made me mad. She had said something to me, did something to me. And I looked at my cousin, I said, hey, you got a sister, right? And I just looked at her. And she was mad, like you could see in her face, she was furious. I was like, yeah, I did that. Ever since then, my cousin ain't really like, you could tell like his energy like towards me has changed. Even so much, right? We was always kind of cool, but you could tell they say stuff. So he invites me to a wedding. His wedding. Now I got a brother as well. He wants to have all the cousins be his groomsmen, but he didn't ask my brother to be a groomsman. right? So when he asked me to be a groom, I agreed, right? He changed the date of the wedding. They pushed it back. So I was like, when they pushed it back, I couldn't get off because I had started a new job when they was having the wedding or something. And I was like, well, I ain't gonna be able to go. So I go to the wedding and I go talk to him. And he kind of dry. I'm like, why he dry? You know what I'm saying? So my other cousin come to me and he was like, yeah, he mad because you wasn't his groomsman. He wanted all his cousins to be the groom. I said, how he want everybody to be a groom, but he ain't asked all.
After somebody started worrying about your brother.
So I went and talked to him at the wedding. I'm like, what's up, bro? You mad at me or something? I heard you probably mad at me. And then he was like, no, man, I just felt some type of way that you wouldn't be a groomsman. I said, how do you feel the way towards me? And you didn't even ask my brother.
Right.
That's weird.
That is very weird.
So if you didn't have my brother there, why would it be a big deal if I'm not there? Correct. If you, like you said, want to have all the cousins. So and like I said, family is weird. It's a weird dynamic, and like even till then, like we really don't talk. And so like me and my wife married, but we having a wedding on the 31st of this year. Okay. And it's like I got a new phone, so I don't have his number, but I wrote him on Facebook trying to get his number, address, his sister's number, address, because I'm like I ain't gonna be like that. Because I was like, should I really invite him?
Yes, and I'm gonna tell you why. I have a very true story about a family member that this happened to. It's a cousin of mine, but he's older. He has children that none of them speaking to him like all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. But his grandson reached out to him, and he had a wedding. Mm-hmm. And because no one was speaking to him on that side, he was like, I'm not gonna go. Mm-hmm. Well, I was able to convince him to go because earlier this year, in February, I lost an uncle. Mm-hmm. And I told you, I'm getting stronger now. I went to this funeral by myself. Okay. That because, yes, I knew my dad was going to come down from where he lives, be at this wedding. Mm-hmm. He acted like he didn't know who I was. He said he didn't see me.
So, hold on. Your dad has seen you at a wedding.
No, it's a funeral.
The funeral. Mm-hmm. And act like he didn't know who you were?
Right. So I heard everybody calling my name. Like, you know, oh, I didn't know she was here. I look just like you, but okay. So, but I was very strong. I was very proud of myself. There was no, and I used to let stuff upset me where I would cry and do all those things. Mm-hmm. None of that anymore. I'm a very strong young lady. So I convinced him to go to that wedding, and it actually freed him of some things. He thought maybe he would get into it with people or do whatever, but because he had his wife by his side, it freed him because it was just like, no, they didn't say anything to him though. They didn't speak to him, they didn't do whatever. But just for him to know, okay, I've done this wrong, whatever's going on, it's not me. I did my part, and his grandson was able to see him. Yeah. And he went home and he was able to rest. So I shared some things with him about myself and with the funeral situation to let him know that if I could do it, you could do it. And I went by, I was very proud of myself because that's something that I wouldn't have done like if I was in my 20s or even my 30s. Mm-hmm. But I just had to be that bigger person because I had that relationship with my uncle. Mm-hmm. And not realizing he was on his deathbed, but he just told me some things and gave me some wisdom and told me some things about being stronger. And no matter, just because you're born into a so-called family, you have to really do what's best for you. And it freed me. So I had to do that. Like, I had to be there because it freed me. Okay. He really freed me. And that was just earlier this year. So I'm such a different person today than I was at the beginning of this year or even last year.
So you said,
I know this is a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah. You said the molestation with your stepfather ended when you were 10 years old. How and why did it stop?
It ended because my mother finally got away.
What you mean got away?
Left him it's so much to this story to unpack. Like I said, he was on molester, he was an abuser, and he was very abusive. Like some things I can't share on here because I know who I am. To the point where I'm gonna say this, even though I was a child, I always felt like I was the protector. Like I had to protect everybody, including my mom. Like it puts you in a place. Like I said, I didn't have a childhood, but it puts you in a place that a child shouldn't be. So I didn't have a childhood because I feel like I had to protect everyone. Excuse me. And when I say got away, because wherever we used to move, he would find her.
Oh man, okay.
So I don't know how or why I can't remember.
But so hold on, you said everywhere y'all would move, your stepdad would find y'all. How would he find y'all?
How did he find us from the beginning? I'm gonna tell a story without trying to tell a story. Let me say this. Let me say, just for story purposes, just say you're driving down the street, right? And you have your child in the car, and your child, it tells you that particular person every day when you pick me up, this person is always behind us and they're following us and they're always waving at me. Your child told me that. This is how I remember it started. And you tell them, just turn around. Nobody's following you. But the next day, the same exact thing is happening. Turn around and you tell your parent. The man I told you about, he following us again today. Girl, nobody's following you. Turn around. So some kind of stalkish behavior. Don't know where he came from. Yeah. I totally believe that he was never there for her. He was there for me because he was a parent child.
Maybe he was there for both of y'all. Maybe he enjoyed the abuse and
and I think about that too.
Yeah.
I do think about that too. I really wanted to write a book, but I started and I stopped. Just to put myself, because the fear of I already am distant from the people that I am related to. But what I had to realize, once you get older, and those people are your relatives, but you have your family inside of, i.e. your children and grandchildren, those are your immediate, people. I don't have a lot of family, like very small. And I'm going to say this too. When you don't have a lot of strong men in a family foundation and just women, things are bound to happen.
You sound like my wife. She said the same thing. She said when you don't have that patriarch in the family to ground the women, they just catty and messy and all that.
Too much mess. And see, I'm not messy. And so, I have someone always telling me, you're just so standoffish, you always to yourself. It's because I want that peace. I've had so much going on in my life. I have reserved the right where I live to, if I want to be at peace, I want to be at peace.
Right.
Because I've never been one where my parents had to come to the school because I'm fighting, I'm in the mess or do whatever. On my jobs, I actually have been called in before because we just wanted to tell you that we like how you carry yourself. We like that when they have cliques over here, you walk away, or when the leader started this, I always see you go back to this because that's not what I'm here for.
Yeah.
So when you don't have that phone, that's a true statement.
Yeah.
Because I can look back on it now. Once my grandfather died, everything just went.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can say
that. You can cuss on here. We can cuss by. I try to. It's a deep conversation. So
I know.
Sometimes some people are so fickle.
Right.
When it comes to when you can and can't curse, and so this is a deep topic, and I don't want too many people to get lost. Oh, they're cursing. I want to turn off because profanity.
Right.
Some people have missed the message because they said cuss word like we don't live in 2022. So
exactly. So.
I understand. Like if you okay with it, I'm okay with it. I'm just like I said on the message aspect of it. People are trying to act like, oh, I can't listen. cussing too much.
Right.
Especially like older people that might be dealing with the same thing. We come from a generation where, a lot of people don't want to hear the older generation, a lot of, profanity and stuff like that. So
right.
I understand that. You said your stepfather molested you, and that, oh, you told me not to say that. I asked a question.
Is it another way around?
You said the person that molested to you had birthed a child that was close to you.
Mm-hmm.
How is that relationship between you and that person?
For a lot of years, it was very strange because when that person left, he left everybody and left everybody alone for years. No one talked to anyone. So it took years and years and years to repair because we were kind of close at a point, growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me to actually sit that person down and tell my truth, even though that was somebody that was close to that person.
Yeah.
And because I was so misunderstood because you really didn't know me, you just thought I was whatever. But once I let that person know the truth,
right,
it has brought us a little closer together. Back on speaking time.
Okay.
To where we would actually call and wish me happy birthday, text every now and then.
Okay.
So it's building it. One thing I did learn in therapy though, it's still weird to me though, that back in like the 50s, 60s or maybe, that it happened and they were just taught to just sweep it under the rug. Like you just sweep it under the rug and you just go on.
Yeah.
And I struggled a long time with that because, like I told you, I thought I was over this. And then one day it just started rearing its ugly head.
Right.
I didn't ask for it to come. I would never discuss it. I just started coming in my dreams. So they explain your subconscious is like a computer with a virus. It's gonna, you can't control it.
Yeah.
So the things that's there, they're gonna just start coming out. And that is a scary thing. But that's what happened.
So when you went to therapy, what exercises or techniques did they teach you to get over the issues that you had as a child?
A lot of journaling. Of course, they would like you to talk to the parent, but if the parent is not receiving much, which she wasn't, she had to teach me other techniques to try to like meditate and do whatever. Like a lot of times I can't sleep. Because who would want to harp on something like this?
Right.
Who in their right mind would want to, just harp on this all the time?
Yeah.
But, a lot of journaling, a lot of learning how to practice self-love is something that I can honestly say that as in my younger years, because those things weren't talked about.
Yeah. So
now I'm on a journey of practicing self-love and not caring about what other people think about me because I know who I am and trying to find out who I am and love me for me, like not try to look for love from anyone else.
So, being molested, how many other family members can you identify close to you that's probably had the same thing happen to them?
I'm glad you asked that question because I'm finding out more and more every day. When I say generational curse, I finally found out that my mother was, my grandmother, a couple of cousins, this on maybe an aunt, and that's scary because like I am so different from my family to the point where I used to be like, why am I so different? Like, why am I like not like them or because of like drama and things of that nature. So that's why when I say generational curse, like it has to be broken some kind of way. But like I told you, a dad's supposed to be the first person you look up. You know who my king was? The person who never hurt me in a male figure in my life? My grandfather. We were so close. He didn't speak much. He didn't talk a lot. But he loved me without having to say those words. He never hurt me. He never harmed me. So when I was young, I was a teenager, passed, it really took a toll on me because I felt like he was my savior, the person that I felt the most comfortable with. And it's a deep thing. And it's probably so many of us out there, and I don't see how people, I wonder, they might be going through the same things I'm going through, and just don't talk about it. But it has gotten to the point where, when you can't rest and you can't, and like something has to be done. Try talking to my mother or somebody. That's not the answer. People don't understand. Oh, it happened back then. Just get over it. Well, I don't wake up thinking about this. Right. It's not that because, like I told you, I married, tried to start my own family, went to college, got degrees, and worked and enjoyed my life. And then, unfortunately, this is the time he wanted to rear his head. So.
Yeah. So, growing up like you did, like, being like sexually assaulted as a kid, right? So being sexually assaulted as a kid, how does a man, or what obstacles have you seen that a man has to get over for you to feel comfortable with him?
I'm working on that now because, you kind of know me pretty well now and see what I have noticed about myself. I have a cousin, an older cousin that hates to hear me say this. I don't feel the need to ever be married again. I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't mind having a friend every now and then. And it's sad. Some people think it's sad, but
I understand it. Very much so.
But it's not sad because whatever. The only thing is, I haven't shared that side is just a friend. So just a friend. But I'm like, I'm okay. I've done it. I've had children. I've married. I did whatever. I just really want to find me. But there's a lot of obstacles because it's a trust issue there.
Yeah.
Right? Because people can show you one thing when you first, when you meet them and you think you know them, but I'm just here to say you can know somebody for 25 years and not know them.
Right. So, I'm just wrapping my head around a lot of stuff because, like I said, to me, it's this is like the first time I've ever heard of someone like being molested or sexually assaulted as a kid. I was talking to this girl, right? And the first time was in high school. And I liked her a lot, right? She went to Shades Valley with me. And we used to flirt, do stuff on a bus. I used to do a little, grab her butt, little cute shit like kids do. And she used to get laugh and giggle. So one day we get off the bus, we walking and stuff like that. And she kisses me, right? Then I go back to kiss her again, but it's kind of like a tongue kiss. Okay. And she just jumps back. And she's like, don't do that. Right. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, what's wrong? Like, you kissed me. Like, I'm thinking, this is what we're about to do. So she jumps back, she's like, don't do that. And she literally runs off. Like, she just took off. And like, what we said, it was a big hit. I ain't never seen nobody run that hill like that. And they're not being funny, but this is really what happened, right?
And it's not funny, but back then I know the words trigger, trauma, things like that. Yeah. By you just saying that, you triggered.
Yeah. And so the other issue, what happened with the same chick, and she's pretty. She's still pretty, like still pretty. Follow on Facebook, whatever. And so the next thing was, it was for some reason it was raining, and we was all at home. My mama, my dad, and my brother and I, and we heard boom, 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 and we're like, "What's going on?" So we opened the door. It's her brother, and he was like, "Have you seen old girl?" So and so. I ain't gonna say her name because she followed me. She's like, "Have you seen old girl?" And I was like, "No, what's up?" And they was like, her and my daddy got into it. So like I kept saying, it was him and his older brother. It's like her and my daddy got into it. Her and my daddy got into it. And I'm like, what do you mean her and your daddy got into it? Like, what does that even mean? So I didn't know. I didn't understand. So my daddy pulled me to the side and pulled my brother to the side. And he was like, hey, when y'all around this young lady, y'all got to be careful because he knows what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but he's not really telling us what's going on, right? And so they come to our house and they looking for their sister. They sit down in our house. I'm like, I thought y'all was looking for y'all sister. Like they're not leaving, they're not going nowhere. They didn't go find. They just came to our house and sat down. And then like my mom was like, y'all want something to drink? Y'all can sit down, take your time or whatever. Y'all ain't gotta leave right now. So I was like, y'all ain't gotta leave right now. And I'm like, why did you niggas sit on our couch? They probably looking for their sister, right? So in my head, not understanding, they, in hindsight, they probably wasn't looking for their sister. They were looking for a place to be at. Right? So next thing I hear, boom, 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 boom. It's her though. She said when she opened, she said, have you seen my brothers? Like she was looking for them. So I'm like, what's going on? So she comes in the house. No lie, these kids literally spend the night at our house on the couch. Wow. So they had this little sister. She didn't show up. It was 4 of them. Her, the brother under her, the other brother, and then there was a little baby girl, right? The baby girl, no lie, she was I was probably like 17. The baby girl was like 10. And if you ever seen her, you would not think this girl was 10. Okay. You would not think this was a 10-year-old girl. The way she was shaved, all like, no lie, like she was like, one day we was all at the pool because we stayed in apartments in Trustville, was all at the pool. And she had on like a 2-piece and she had a big old butt. Like you seen her, you would not think this, right? Right. And so she didn't come down. She didn't come down now. And the brother asked her, where the sister at? The little sister. So apparently they all got, it's 4 of them, all of them got different daddies. Every last one got different daddies. Huh? And so it's like, what in the world is going on? And so the little girl, I didn't even know that she like that was happening to her too. But like I said, if you ever seen this girl, you wouldn't think that. So but fast forward, I'm like 21 and I'm working in Trustville. While I'm working in Trustville, the young girl come in, so she probably 17 at this time now. And so she come in and like she still shaped the same way, but more like she's filled out even more. But her whole demeanor, like she was still kind of like a kid. But you could tell when somebody the demeanor they've been through something. Right. And it seemed like she done been through something. So she comes in. She said, you know what? It's crazy. Me and my sister was talking about you. Now I ain't seen these people in about 3 years. Right. I was like, y'all was talking. She like, yeah. She like, my sister said she used to have so much fun with you. Whoop. We stay right across the street. I was like, oh, for real? She like, yeah, I just walked over here because we stay across the street. So my sister got her own place now, so I moved in with my sister and her baby daddy or whatever. I was like, oh, okay, what's up? That's what's up. She was like, I'm gonna give me a number. I'm gonna give my sister your number. And I'm like, I remember what was going on. I don't know if I want to deal with this chick, right? But I ain't gonna lie. She was fine, and I did want to. I wanted. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted, but like at the time, it's not registering that this person has been damaged sexually, and what comes with it, right? So I get the number. We chit chat 3 days. She's like, come over to my house. Her baby daddy got into it, broke up. This is before I know what I know. If I knew it then, I wouldn't went over there because I could have got killed. Right, but I ain't know. Like I said, it was, I was blinded basically.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do this, whatever. So I go to the house. She's kissing on me, trying to do some stuff, right? She got a baby in the bed, and she's trying to have sex with me while the baby is right there in the bed. And I said, you're not gonna take your baby, or you want to go to another room? She said, no, it's okay.
But I will say, I'm glad you brought that up. It can make you very promiscuous.
Mm-hmm.
It can make you question your sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Or just really not. Or I've read where some people think that all people that were molested hurt other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's so far from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why a lot of people don't talk about it, because I've been told by my own family member that if I was gay or anything like that she would not allow the children to be around me, her grandchildren would be around me, and that she would call me this certain name that I can't say, and wouldn't talk to me. But there are psychological facts that show, those type of things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why I have a passion. I can look at children and I can already tell you if something is happening to them or has happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
I have that type of view. And back to the development, I'm glad you brought that up. I was so underdeveloped to the point where I'm like, what does this mean?
Like what this is a child.
No breast. No, yeah. I said from 5'10", no breast, nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. But that's the attraction though.
Yeah, I know that, but
yeah, it's the attraction. Because me as a man, if I see a girl from a distance and I see how she's shaped, I could be like, that girl got shape.
Right.
But that's not me being pedophile because I don't know her age.
Right.
I'm not talking to her on her mind. I'm just looking strictly at her body. And this, like I said, this young lady, I'm telling you, like, if you ever would have seen this girl, you'd have been like, it's either somebody messing with her or like, because her sister was skinny. Her mama was big, but she was just a big round lady. So it's like that shape must have come from her father. Because like I said, all of these people had different daddies, right? And so it's like, damn, like I don't know what's going on, right?
And that happens. And I know a young lady, she went to her mom and told her mom that her mom's husband was doing these things to her since she was like 9. Her mom didn't believe her. It made her very shapeless. Like if you look at her now, it's not a fine shape. Like it's like a droopy, like you've been on this earth.
She wore down.
Like she wore down.
Yeah. And
it's making her just keep having all these children, because nobody believed her. Whereas with me, it just made me very sheltered. I used to be very shy and didn't like confrontation at all. So, the warning signs are there.
Yeah. Yeah, that, like I said, it's a lot. And then I had another chick. She was so fine. Like I was at work. That's when I worked at Dollar Tree. Mm-hmm. I was like 19, 20. And she comes in now. She's fine. She's fine. She comes in there. And she's like, can you, blow me up some balloons? I was like, yeah, I blow up some balloons. And she just looking at me. And I'm looking at her. I was like, I'm going to try. I'm going to just see if I get a number. So, like, I got a number. We vibing, we kicking it or whatever. And for some reason, this is the only female I feel like I couldn't crack the code to because I didn't understand her that well. So, like, one day, we'll be chilling and kicking it. She's very sexually aggressive. She's kissing on me, rubbing on me, grabbing on me. I'm grabbing on her, and I feel like we're gonna go to that next level. We never do. Then the next day, it's like you touching on me. I feel weird. I'm closed off.
Right.
I don't know what's going on. So with that understanding, I'm like, why? And I had to ask. I said, why are you so back and forth with me? Like I'm thinking we're progressing. Then you just get shut off one day. We have a good week here. We have a bad week here. I can't keep doing this because I'm so unsure about you. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
She tells me it's some things that I don't want to really tell you that I've been through that are very, very serious. And I'm trying to open up to you, but you're going to have to give me some time. I didn't know what that meant.
See,
So,
made her aggressive. That's why she was so aggressive. You didn't know it, but yeah.
but see, I go home and ask my dad. I was like, so me and, I said, now I'm thought she fought, but me and Candace doing whoop de whoop, and we get here. I don't know what's going on. And he was just right. It sounds like she's just playing hard to get right now. Right? She just playing a game, teasing you. He said you can leave her alone, or you can just go find somebody else if you feel like she's dragging us along. And I was like, no, I said I really like her. And he was like, that's because that girl. So that's because that girl fine. That's
right.
what it is. And I ain't gonna lie, she will find out what I want.
Right.
And so one day, so this is when it got weird. She comes to my house. And she gets like she's trying to fill my family out. She used to just sit up on the rest and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And she asked my mom, she's like, "Hey, do you have a I guess the little cake for the pound cake, the little butt
pain.
Yeah." So she asked my mom for that. She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "You know how to cook?" She's like, "Yeah, I know how to cook real good." And so she just like, I leave. I leave them talking. Mm-hmm. Hopefully she's like gonna leave, but I come back. She's still talking home 3 hours later.
Wow.
So I'm like, what's going on, right? And my mom was like, I like her, but it's something about this young lady, right? She said, I can't put my finger on it. So one day, I'm chilling downstairs, me and my dad, we sitting there watching TV, and I get a phone call. She boo-hoo crying. Boo-hoo crying. And now she was like, what's wrong? What's wrong? She's like, Cedric, you just wouldn't understand. You just wouldn't understand. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. I was like, what's going on? She's like, it's just my dad and my dad. I just hate him. I just hate him. I was like, why do you hate your dad? And why did you think to call me with this? We've been kicking it and chilling, but I don't feel like we even got to those levels for you to feel like you could open up to me to a point where we can talk about what's going on with your life, right?
Right.
So the backstory is when I met her, she stayed right in the same neighborhood, like a mile away from me. Pretty much the same neighborhood, right? And it wasn't even a mile away. And she stayed with her grandparents. I didn't know why she stayed with her grandparents, right? Grandparents loving and stuff like that. And her granddaddy used to always try to vet me. So he'll be like, hey, come outside. He'll say stuff like, come outside while I wash the car, let's talk. Why you watch this? Ain't no. Well, I'm be honest with you. I don't know too many women that I've talked to whose daddy or people that's close to them, father figures, actually try to get involved with me enough to want to have a conversation. Right. And so we had plenty of conversations. Like, well, this was like a 6-month span. Us going back and forth. I would talk to the granddaddy or whoop, and then her grandmama had said it was like came downstairs. They had a big, beautiful house. Like you could tell this girl came from how she dressed. Like it's fine, I won't well put together and stuff like that. But I guess that's from her grandparents' side. Her dad, not so much. Like her dad, and she never talked about her mom. I asked her, said, "Where your mom at?" I don't know. She would just leave it like, I don't know. And that's how I left it. But then she calls my phone crying about her dad. I'm like, you hate your daddy. You don't talk about your mama. You stay with your grandparents, and your granddaddy keep trying to have these conversations with me, but I ain't really opening up like that. And he was like, one day he said something. He was like, yeah, you got to be gentle with her. He was like, you got to be gentle with her. I'm like, gentle with her? Like, nigga, we ain't even doing that. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in my mind, I was like, nigga, she ain't even gave me no pussy yet. Right. Like, you mean gentle? So after all that was before the phone call. So when I get the phone call about her crying and whoop, hating her dad and stuff like that. My daddy was like, son, you ain't picked up on it, but I picked up on it. Something happened to this young lady. And she's confiding in you. And he said, this is what he said. He said, people that have been molested and they're going through traumatic times, this will be the time where she will probably try to give you some vagina because she's distraught. Her emotions are everywhere. She's not thinking clearly. So if she's been traumatized, it might be a release for her as well. So she might be stressed and want to basically, bust that nut. Right. And sure enough, I got the phone call, her crying. Maybe 2 days later, she calls me. She's like, you want to come over with the whoop? And so, I'm like, okay. So we downstairs at the grandparents' house. This is the first time she's completely naked in front of me.
Wow.
2 days later after this phone, she's completely naked in front of me. And I'm like,
and it's confusing.
I'm confused.
It's confusing because the do not to really, I can say that now.
Yeah.
Go there because
I did. I was scared.
Yeah,
I was scared.
It's more damaging. I will be honest with
you. This is the first time in my life I'm with a woman and I could not get erect. Right. So I was scared and I couldn't get erect because she was sending me so many places, and then I never just really had a woman cry to me like that. Like I've had women cry, but it was just on some make up type stuff. But just on some I hate my parents type of stuff. You feel what I'm saying? And so I didn't know she's completely naked. I've been chasing the girl for 6 months, and this is weird. Like I said, this is how you know she will find out because I ain't chasing off people for 6 months to just get some. But she's very, very fine, skin, beautiful skin, body no marks, shape nice. Like I said, she was well put together, sexy, and I think the reason that she probably was well put together like that is because maybe she was so fucked up on the inside.
Right.
And like I said, she was completely naked in front of me 2 days after giving me this call. And I'm like, I said, hold on. I said, you confusing me. I said, I'm not even in the mood. I said, I'm still trying to figure out why you called me 2 days ago and you just want to, as soon as I come here, you jump on me. And all I could think about in the back of my head was my dad saying, hey, this person, and that might have been God telling me something. Maybe I would have got her pregnant. Maybe I would have dealt with her all the rest of my life. Maybe she would have been a stalker. Maybe she would have put so much on me after I would have crossed that line where I don't know what would happen. All my mind is my dad saying, hey, it's something wrong with this young lady. It's something wrong with this young lady. And then, like I said, I've been chasing the girl for 6 months. We had this phone call, and now it's the first time you completely naked, and I asked you, hey, stop, slow up,
right.
Whoop. Let's talk about why you called me.
That's the only way she knew how to communicate. Because she felt like you were a man, but I'm glad you did, and I'm glad you had a dad in the home. That can steer you. A lot of young men don't.
Yeah.
Have that, and those are conversations that need to be had. Because if you groom your sons on the way, because you might not find out until your honeymoon. Like,
right.
Like what is wrong? Like, what's going on? Then you married to somebody, but we got all these issues to unpack because you don't trust the man that you married enough to share that with.
Right.
So it's deep.
Yeah. Make sure you talking to Mike.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's deep.
Yeah.
It's deep.
Yeah.
You don't trust that person enough because all you're trying to get out of a situation or make your life different than what it was. And I've gotten married more than once.
So how many times have you been married?
I was married 2 times and one annulled. And see, that's another thing.
You was married, so
and I'm still ashamed about that to this day.
So run down your timeline for me because I don't know your timeline.
Well, I had my son early. I was not married then. I was 19 when I had my son.
So you didn't marry your son's father?
No, but I was married when I had my second child.
So did you marry your daughter?
Yes.
Father?
I did.
Y'all got divorced?
Yeah, we're just married on paper. Just on paper.
But okay, but then y'all got divorced.
And we got divorced because
okay.
I married a part of my molester, my abuser. You don't, I promise you, I was all over the place. Like, as far as thinking, like, I was always the person, went to church, did things right for the kids, make sure, my family's fed, the house is clean. It makes you be a giver, but never, anything for yourself. So, we were together 7.5 years, and we were married 3. But I could tell you probably we were married 3 on paper, probably together a year.
Okay, so that ends. You get married again.
Yeah, not for a while, for a long time.
But hold on, but you got married again. I'm just trying to get.
Yeah, I got married.
So got pregnant. By your son's father. They married him. Married your daughter's father. Divorced. You married another man.
Yeah, in my third, like when my children were almost about to graduate.
Okay.
I waited a long time.
Okay, so how long were you and him together?
We were together a long time, but we only married for 3 years. So we were together. We were together 3 years before we married. Once we married, we were together. We might have been together like 12 years now.
So did he remind you of your abuser too, or was he different from the man before?
He portrayed himself to be different before, but he actually was like him and then some. Once he groomed me very well for 3 years.
So you were groomed.
I was groomed.
So what does grooming look like?
Now I can say that. Okay, you know how you might can look at me and see my vulnerability. But I'm not aware that you're seeing my vulnerability. So I know what she likes. I know she goes to church and says she got X amount of kids. I'm gonna play it from this standpoint and say I have X amount of kids when you really have maybe more than that, but you're gonna tell me that you have the same amount I have. And only bring that amount around. And wine and dine me.
So do you think you could be at fault for
most definitely something
the grooming? Because I feel sometimes
not everything is not somebody else's fault. Yeah. It's because
you could give too much information about yourself.
Yeah, you give too much information about yourself. And with this person, I could literally not stand. But my boss at the time loved to eat food, and she used to tell me, he likes you, and I was like, and I cannot stand him. And then she incorporated our lunches together. And
so she was setting it up too.
She was setting it up too. So she'll tell me, I need you to go pick this up from XYZ, and when I get there, he's there waiting on me, whatever. So
do you think she knew that he was like that and was trying to?
Oh, most definitely she didn't know.
You don't think so?
No, nobody knew because it's some things I can't say on here.
Yeah.
But he was a great actor. But what I will say, I'm telling you, I was a very naive person. Yes, a lot of things were my fault, but I was very naive. Because I began to trust this person. And when you feel like you trust this person and they're showing you something that you've not seen before and you get used to it, it made us become closer. And I felt like I can trust him. Well, he just used those things to get what he wanted, from me. So that's why you can talk about it. I'm not trying to be the victim for a long time. People that be molested, we don't feel like we're the victim. We feel like it's our fault. We don't feel victimized. We feel like everything, like when you said the first young lady was very beautiful, very pretty. If somebody called me pretty, I thought that it was something that I was doing wrong to make them call me that. So I would always change, cover up more or do whatever because I thought that I was doing something to bring attention to me. And I was a very, very shy person. All high school and everything.
So after being molested, did that make you not want to be seen as much?
Right. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want nobody to touch me. I didn't know silly boys at school don't play with me like that.
So you used to wear because I see some people say they wear big clothes.
I wore big
No makeup.
And I had gotten to the phase where I wanted to wear makeup, and then I started. But if somebody looking at me a little too hard, then
you feeling weird.
Yeah, then I used to wear big t-shirts with my little skinny self over the, trying. Yeah.
Make yourself unattractive.
Right.
I got you.
And I probably, I catch myself probably doing this still now. But I try to work on myself.
You said you and your mother's relationship is strained. Have you got to the point where you feel like you've overcome your mother?
No, it's still a trigger. I try so hard, but what I'm gonna have to do in order to get over this, because who wants to say, "Oh, it's your mother," it's the vessel that came through to be on this earth. So I guess because I wanted that type of, whatever, but I'm really going to have to separate myself in order to heal completely.
What does separation from your mother look like?
Setting boundaries, even when I say no and you show up, and and don't call, or if I tell you no about something, you do it in a way and I allow you to step into my space. That's on me. That's my fault, because you're not hearing what I'm saying. And at this point, who's most important is myself.
Right.
So I have to learn how to set boundaries and keep them.
How do you make sure you keep your boundaries set?
When I say no, I mean no. And
but sometimes, and I've done this with women. I've known like they may not. I've worn them down enough to know that they might be weak.
Right.
And how do you know when you're getting weak to make sure you reassure that you don't let anybody cross those boundaries?
See, that's why I'm still working on it, because I did something that I said I wasn't going to do concerning her, and I did it again. And it's because, to be honest with you, it's your mom. You looking like your mom's your protector or whatever.
I'm gonna say this. I think us as black people think that, because when you hear white people talk about their mama and stuff like that, they be like, fuck my mama.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They move all the way across the water or whatever. But what I was gonna say, you manipulated me for so long at such a young age, because everybody else, they like what you just said. Yeah. Man, forget that. Blah, blah, why you keep opening up these wounds? So, right. I just gotta move on and just accept it, and because it hurts more than it helps. There's nothing positive coming out of it. Right. And that's only setting me back. So I just gotta do it, because everybody else, it's simple. Even to the therapist, it's simple. Yeah. It's like, it's simple. You're doing it to yourself.
But it's kind of like attachment issue.
Correct.
Because you said your mama just popped up on you, just disturbing your peace, and she knows y'all not on the best terms.
Right.
Why does she think she can do that?
Because she's manipulated me for so long, and I'm just now realizing that she is a manipulator and a narcissist. I didn't want to believe it, because, like you said, you just said, like, why did I let her do this? Because attachment issue came from me trying to get you to help me when this man doing this stuff to me. I think I had to go, but I sit back and think about these things myself. And it was because, wow, I was being hurt or doing whatever. I'm running after you. But now that I'm older, I gotta drop it. I gotta let it go.
So when your mom found out about the sexual assault from your stepfather, what did she do? Or did she do anything?
She reacted. She told me who the person was before I can get the name out, first of all, which set me back 5 years. Like, the first counseling just went all the way out the window.
Because she already knew and did nothing about it?
Right, because you can't, there's no way that she could tell me that she didn't know anything about it if you said it's not you.
Right.
And when my therapist warned me on how to approach her with this and say, Mom, I forgive you, blah, blah. Forgive me for what? I didn't do anything. Forgive me?
So is it true? I mean, is it safe to say that some women feel like having a piece of a man is better than having no man at all?
Oh, my grandmother used to say that, and I do not believe that. But it is safe to say that, yes, because she grew up under those words, and I totally disagree. That's why, while my relationships may have failed, but they failed at my hands because I
Mm-hmm.
had enough sense to know that I'm not going to take XYZ abuse or any other sexual abuse or things that you might want me to do that don't make me feel comfortable. Because people don't realize, but mental abuse and verbal abuse is worse sometimes than physical.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's crazy because sometimes physical abuse still leaves scars, and they still don't cut as deep as the ones that's in your heart and your soul and your mind.
right, and that's why like I said, I had my friend. She had to bring to my attention. She was like, "When your mom is around," she said, "I don't know what happened to you, but when your mom is around, you turn to a whole different person. Like you look, I didn't even know it." She said, "You clam up and you just change."
Mm.
And I'm older than my friend. And I was like, "I do," and I'm glad she brought it to my attention. So now I'm being aware. And like you said, I guess black people, we feel like why am I continuing to hurt myself like this?
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, my white counterparts, my white friends would tell, girl, I, forget that lady, go on. I don't talk to my ex-wife. Some don't talk to their father, some don't talk to their mom. They move on, have a healthy life, healthy marriage, with their children or whatever, because they set their boundaries young and just know. I guess it's just your upbringing. I just don't know.
I got a question.
Okay.
Why is it in the black community that we can't speak ill of our mothers, but we can dog the fathers out all day long?
Well, in my case, that's not true.
But you've said it. I'm
But I
sure.
see it all the time. I do, and I made sure, like I tried to make sure that my children didn't see me do that.
Mm-hmm.
I was in one of those situations where I said, beat, you're gonna beat the person up that stayed.
Mm-hmm.
I was young, 23 with 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's young. That's too young to be trying to, start a whole life or whatever. But I am around a lot of people that do that, and I think it's mostly in the black community. But I don't know if they grew up in families like mine where there are no men, or they've been disappointed in life, like their fathers weren't around. Because I actually feel the same way on both ends. Because the reason I feel that way is because I feel like I was let down as a child. Like I wasn't cared for properly, and it made me grow up faster and be responsible. But I hear people say that all the time. But one thing I can say, money, children don't care about child support and money. They care about the quality time with their parents. It doesn't matter what you and I got going on. And this is maturity talking, I used to beg one of my children's fathers just to spend that quality time. He don't care about this, that, and the other. It's about the time. They don't care about money. They don't care about, because that's what we hear. And I'm gonna tell you, growing up in my household, every last one of us, you just like your no good dad. You this, you that, you that, blah blah blah. So I think the black community is like that because that's what we're taught in the home. If they mad at the fathers, then you get the blunt. You get the you acting like you're weak. That you get this, that, and the third. It's just a difference. But and I'm not the only one. But the majority of my friends or associates, they grew up with a mother and a father in the home like you.
So, after being sexually assaulted as a kid, what or how did your view of men change? Or if it changed, or what was your view of men?
I'll be honest, it made me feel like all men cheat, all men, they're not trustworthy. it made me feel like whether you were a pastor or a doctor, no matter who you were, there's always gonna be somebody else.
How did you overcome that? Do you still think that men are like that?
I look at it differently now because I'm mature. It just depends on the situation and the person and what you allow. Because in this era, people think it's cool to be the side chick or whatever. Like that's so. I still have trust issues. I'm not gonna lie.
How do you overcome trust issues, or what techniques, exercises, or what does a person need to do to help you overcome a trust issue if you're dating them?
Just to be honest and let it be my choice.
But how do you know they're being honest if there's a trust issue there?
You're right. Okay, just say if I met you and I just say, I've had a person in my past and I said, are you seeing someone else at this time? And that person said yes. That's when you know you can trust the person, because then it's your choice whether you want to be in that relationship or that friendship or whatever it is that is going on. I will trust you more because you told me the truth. I won't get mad at you. Yes, I'm going to trust you because you could have lied and said no. So, and I found that older men don't have time to play those type of games, and they don't, have to lie about. It's still some out there that do that, but from that made me respect you more. If you tell the truth. You just tell the truth. So when you said yes, you could have easily said no.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how I determine whether a person is whatever. But I'm just at the point now where I'm just like, you know what?
You said when you were sexually assaulted that you had developmental issues a little bit, or
what
like
do you mean, body wise?
Like body wise, mentally, or
maybe
slowed up, like regressed mentally.
I regressed mentally and body wise. I didn't puberty. I didn't start my cycle till like high school. Like really, I regressed mentally because I believed everything that was told to me by my mom. I'm just being honest. Like, I was manipulated for so many years that I thought whatever she said was gold. But now that I'm older and finding out all these things were lies. So it's even though I'm cooking and doing everything for my siblings and doing all that stuff, I believe things too much. I believe because you just look at, it's your parent, But that's how I did anyway. My other siblings are nothing like me. They're strong and like, why did you believe it? Like, I wasn't.
I got you.
Right, but again, I was the only child for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I just was messed up because I didn't have anywhere to run to, nobody to talk to. Nobody at school talked about this stuff. I don't, it was just, the times were different then.
So the stuff that you went through as a kid, being sexually assaulted, and your mother being the reason for bringing this man around you, how is it possible for you and her to mend that relationship? Is it even possible? Or I'm gonna ask you a difficult question. Do you think that relationship will probably heal better once she's passed away?
It'll heal better once she's passed away. I hate to say it, but it's a hard thing, but that's the only thing that's gonna help because I've been trying for 3-4 decades and it's still the same. It's just like, what is the definition of insanity? You see,
doing the same thing again.
Yeah.
So why do you think she just like? So have you ever told her like, don't pop up over here?
Several times.
And she still doesn't.
Yes.
So maybe your next time it's got to be somewhere where you just don't tell her where you go.
Right.
And so, how long have you been in therapy?
I started back in 2019. I went a lot of years and stopped.
I'm saying, when is the first official? Like I went
28.
So 28, and you're how old now?
I'm 50.
So from 28 to 50, does therapy look different now? Like from where you were in life, the exercises, techniques, the things to help you with triggers, are they looking different now than it was at 28? Does it does therapy at 50 at 28 look different because you may be healed over certain issues? You're not triggered by as much. Like how did therapy change between the 28 and 50?
Maturity and actually putting the work in. Mm-hmm. And you have to find the right therapist that fits you. Mm-hmm. Because the one that I have now, she doesn't cut corners like how you're not cutting corners like with the questions. Yeah. She's straight. I want somebody to be straightforward, Mm-hmm. And you have to be willing to put the work in. Mm. Now, what I just told you, she's going to be very mad because I opened that door. She warned not to do that.
Why did you go? If you're going to therapy and your therapist give you advice and it seems to work, why did you go against the advice your therapist gave you?
Because it was late at night and my doorbell was ringing. And at first I just tried to ignore it. And I'm really still mad at myself because I don't have a quick answer to that because it's your mother. That's all I'm going to say. Because it's your mother.
Yeah, we got to get out of that.
Got to get out of it.
If y'all watching this, we got to, as Black people, get out of the mindset that it's your mother. If anybody is around you and they're hurting you, they're toxic, that mean you're no good, you can't move forward in life, you find yourself stuck in the mud because people are always bringing up stuff or triggering you or making you upset, depressed, or sad, we have to let those people go out of our lives. We need to do better with one another, how we love each other, how we treat each other, how we talk to each other, how we care for each other. It needs to be a big turnaround in our community. And yes, it is okay to cut our parents off if they mean us no good, because their whole job in having us was protection, love, care, quality time, provision, feeding. So if your parent is, falling short on those things and very lackluster, I would tell you to run and run fast as you can. Shut the door. Don't look back. Get in the car. Don't look in the rearview mirror. Like, just keep going and always keep going and always look ahead, because you know where you come from. You know what's happened. You know what will happen if you decide to turn around.
Yes, please don't. I have a sibling that never turned around, living their life, and they're happy. And I don't know why I didn't have the guts to do so when they told me to do so. I don't know why.
Do you feel like you hate yourself sometimes because you feel like you wasn't as strong as you needed to be in certain situations?
Yes, I will agree with that. And that's sad to say, but mm-hmm. Yes, because I was like, why am I so weak toward these things? And they happen to me. Like, why? Mm-hmm. I do question myself. I deal with that. Yeah, I do.
How do you overcome that feeling of hate, regret?
I have to journal a lot and mm-hmm. do a lot of positive affirmations. Mm-hmm. A lot of I am worthy. I am loved. I love myself. You are worthy, of being loved. And when call a spade a spade. When you know somebody's trying to manipulate you or being narcissistic, call it out right then and there. And I do. I don't sugarcoat anything anymore. Some people might say I'm mean. It's not about being mean. It's about standing up for yourself. It's still that little girl in you. I feel like I'm standing up for that little girl that I didn't heal from way back then. Mm. So now I'm doing it. Yeah. And guess what? I don't feel guilty, embarrassed, or anything like that, because I could die today or tomorrow. And I haven't lived my life. I don't know who I am mm-hmm. because I'm still stuck with that little girl that never healed.
So after sexual assault, going to therapy, do you think you know who you are now?
I'm finding myself.
How long you think you've been on this journey finding yourself?
Maybe I'll say the last 5 years I've really seriously been finding myself, like really putting my foot down to the point where my no is no. I don't care. Nobody's gonna manipulate me into doing family or not. No, it's no. And it's still hard for me if somebody told me I was pretty or something like that. I'm still working on that, which is so ridiculous. But because I tell my daughter she's beautiful every day, and she says, "You're just saying that because you're my mom." I tell my son he's handsome every day, you know, because those things are important. You know, those are the things that you need to instill into not just Black people, but you know,
kids.
Your kids. They need to know that.
Yeah.
So
do you treat your daughter and your son different?
My daughter might say so. But
why would she say so?
She feels like my bond with my son, but you gotta understand, we grew together. I was just a young girl, you know, having him. I don't treat him different. It's just that her personality is different, where she could be a little disrespectful at times. So I don't take the stuff that I had a lot of, you would think that the boy would have gave me the most trouble, but it was the other way around. So that person, she has a very strong personality. And whereas, not saying that he didn't give me any trouble, but he always respected me. You know, he might go outside and call me that B word or that whatever.
Yeah.
Even when we argued or whatever, he would ask, "Can I please step outside to cool off?" Versus the other one,
just going off.
You. And for some reason, that's something I always wanted them to be close. I didn't want them to feel any different. She just wants to be spoiled. Like,
how old are your children?
31 and 26.
Okay, so they 5 years apart.
Right.
Ain't too bad. Well, I guess it is because like my wife and her brother 6 years apart, and they kind of a little age. That gap, you'll be surprised how 5 years, 6 years.
But he is so different. He would get the shirt and hook you back. Now he don't take no, he don't talk a lot. He don't sit back and watch, but he gonna do, you know, the things that needs to be done. Whereas, and that's why I probably see. Well, no, because I wasn't disrespectful. I was so passive. And that's what I do hate. Like, if I go back and look at it, I was a very passive person.
Yeah. Man, that.
I told you it was deep. I was like, "You sure?" So yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely.
But if it can help somebody, I just look for the signs. Don't when I was raised, they always said you had to watch your girls. It's not just girls. People, please hear me. You have to watch your children. Period. Boy, girl, it does not matter.
Because I think they had released a report in 2020 that said more women had sexual assault charges than men.
Right.
And the reason I think now is women are getting caught is because of social media and people are speaking out more. Because we try to act like men are the main ones that are perverted, but I think a lot of women get away with it because men are looked at as the creature that's more sexually prone to do some stuff, you know. And from my experience, dating and having sex with women typically are more freakier than men are.
And it's sad because, you know, where I say molestation, a guy would say they just lost their virginity. Or you were molested.
Why? But, you know, I'm going to be honest. Even if I was like 17, 16, 15, having sex with an older woman, I don't feel like, because at that time I feel like I was all, not take the law out of it.
Okay, it's not about the law. That's the only way you break it.
Take the law out of it.
Okay.
But if I was those ages, 17, 16, 15, I had sex with like a 31-year-old, 32-year-old, I would not feel like, as a man, that I got taken advantage of. I feel as if, I got game. I pulled the older woman and we did this. But this is the thing I'm finna ask you. Why is it different as men? Not saying that we think we were molested, but why is it the thought process of when men have sex with someone older, we think it's cool, but at like women, young girls at the same age don't know what's going on when it comes to sex.
But I would feel like the young man, if you're 15, you really don't know what's going on. You're not, seasoned or whatever.
But we got people that still having sex at an older age that don't know what's going on too.
That's true.
So
what?
You're
still a child. What you have
legally? That's why I said take the law out of it. We're just going by age.
Okay, well let me ask you this.
Okay, go ahead.
Just say it was a 15-year-old daughter with a 13-year-old man.
I would just talk to her, and me and my wife had this conversation. I'm not going to act like my 15-year-old daughter did not want to have sex with a 31-year-old man because she's younger than him.
Okay. Well,
I would talk to her as if, hey, did you know he was 31? She says yes. Okay, next question. Did you want to have sex with him? Yes. Did he persuade you? Did he force you? Did he force you down? Did he hold you down? She says no. Would you do it again? That now that I know that you had sex with him, would you want to do it again? She says yes. Are y'all trying to start a relationship? Is it just fun? Do you think he cares about you? I would ask all these questions to make sure I'm not overreacting, because I know even as a 15-year-old having sex with other young ladies at 15 that they are aggressive. And I know that women typically like to date older men because of resources and stuff. That's just a natural thing. Because I can remember when women were riding in, getting dropped off by older dudes because they got a car, or they can buy them some shoes, or they can do X, Y, and Z. So no, if my 15-year-old daughter was having sex with a 31-year-old man, I would just ask her questions. If it don't seem like she, in harm's way or stuff like that, but I would talk to her about, hey, that having sex, you can get pregnant, STDs. I would probably already talk to my 15-year-old daughter about all that, but I would just reiterate, like, do you know the risk of having sex, your heart, how men view sex? He could potentially just be viewing this as a good time. Did you have a talk with this older guy to know, like, hey, is we building something, or we just having a good time? Do you know what that is? Are you old enough to separate a good time from you putting your feelings in it? See, those are the things I would be more afraid of for my daughter having sex, is her being heartbroken more than being like taken advantage of.
Well, you're a referee because mentally she's still not where a 31-year-old man would be.
I can't say that because y'all favorite line, women's favorite line is no, that's not true. That's not true. I know you said that no, women, no. I'm not gonna believe it. Women do not mature faster than men. From what I know, hell no. Women,
from what I know from you, I already knew that.
Women do not. When they say this, women start maturing at the age that they find they're getting sexual attention. So when a woman is 13, oh, I got these niggas looking at me. I wanna, they looking at me. I can get X, Y, Z. Typically, women stay in a 13-year-old's mindset. It's like having a child. That's why this is controversial. But that's why when you get into a relationship, your woman's like, what are we going to eat? Like, I had to tell my wife, hey, why don't you act like I'm not here and pick something you were going to eat if I wasn't here? But now that I'm here, now I got to make what we eat decisions, what we go decisions. I'm making all the decisions. As a man, I didn't have to take on two people lifestyle and think for us every step, turn, nook, cranny, roll, crevice, where we going to go up today. What vacation would you like to go? Where do you want to eat at? What do you see us in 5 years? What do you see us in 5 years? And that's why I'm telling you, it can't be that I'm the man and I'm supposed to lead. It can't be that I'm the man and I'm supposed to lead, and then you mature faster than me. Because if that's the case, me and my wife the same age. She older than me because we the same age.
But what if it's something she cooked last week that you already had there and she just wanted to cook it again today and you come home and you didn't want it? So
but we've had that issue too.
So,
but what and how this is why she's smart, because she's like, hey, I was thinking about cooking this, and this. Here are your options. Pick one.
right.
Instead of just jumping out there and cooking something I don't even want. Or making sure, hey, have you ate today? Because we've had that issue too. I've eaten something before I came home, and it said I got 5 on it. Thank you for sharing your story. Hold on, I'm finna go down. Thank you for sharing your story, ma'am. I got 5 on it. I think for young men in general, we look at getting older women as a fantasy. I do agree. I think it is a fantasy. I think women know that. That's why we have things called cougars.
But think about this. Okay,
we have cougars now.
At 15, but what if it was a person in my situation who went through what I went through as a child? So I'm not mentally there at 15, and an older man trying to talk to me is gonna make me feel.
But okay, so typically, historically, before we got laws and stuff like that, you were not allowed to have sex before your cycle.
Right.
Anything before they call it the flowering age, we knew you should not be having sex, because most mammals have a short window to have kids. We mainly, humans and like dolphins, are the only things on the planet that just have sex as recreation. Most people, like dogs and stuff like that, wait to come in heat to have sex. So they don't just out here have sex willy-nilly. So it's just like, with us, we know before the flowering age, you're not supposed to have sex.
Right.
And even thinking about that, you've seen that movie, A Time to Kill.
Yes.
Do you know how bad that movie fucks with me?
That's what I was gonna tell you. It took me a long time to watch it.
Like, oh so my God! Like, even, but that's one of my favorite lines of that movie too, because I agree with it so much. The man asked the other man. Well, you remember when he went down there and shot them folks who were protecting him, and he shot that guard, and he went and apologized to that guard, and he said he was sorry. So the lawyer get to the courtroom, they talk, ask questions. He said, ask him, I guess, ask him, do you forgive me? Whatever he said. He said, are you mad at him or something like that? He said, no, I ain't mad at him. Because he did that to my dog. My daughter, he'll be a dead dog too. And it's like, order in the court. I'm like, that's how I feel. And so when he asked him that, it was like, yeah, bro, you shot me. I could have been dead, but my nigga, I understand, bro, because this is my daughter. This is what I'm here to do, is protect my daughter. And I failed at that. And to even know, like, even they was telling her that she couldn't even have kids because she was so young. Right. A woman's body not even able to even take on that type of trauma. Hold on, see what we got right now. See the next comment. Hold on. Maybe it's on here so I can see. It say, but still aren't at a mental age to really understand what's going on at that age. We still don't develop our minds fully until 25. That's what that's what science says. That's what, and I think that's more so not maturity. I think that's when your brain probably stops growing. I'm gonna look it up. The inkwell is a good example of younger men, older women's sexual dynamic. Yes. What is inkwell?
That's a great movie. You haven't seen it?
I never seen inkwell.
Oh, make sure.
Inkwell. Yes. Hold on, y'all. So let me make sure.
And do you look at Canaan?
Raising Canaan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, did you see?
I'm gonna talk her ass up too. I ain't gonna even lie.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I ain't gonna lie, but I'm just being honest. And I don't think nothing was wrong. And Canaan was upset because I wanted that.
Okay.
If I would, it's like this. Lorenz Tate. Yeah, I ain't never seen that.
We need to watch that, and we really can have a debate on that. But
Inkwell. Let me see.
So what about the people that are listening? Can they really kind of explain what I'm saying from a female's perspective versus he thinks it's okay?
I did not say it was okay.
Not okay, but
I said, you asked me about my daughter in particular.
No, I'm talking about even as a man and you're younger, but if you okay this wrong woman to do it, it's okay.
That's what they said again.
But it's not. And I'm
It
not
just
talking
say
about long.
it just say
Morally.
Facebook user. I'm trying to go to my page so I can see the names, so I don't have to call them Facebook user.
Okay.
But
or American Pie.
Or American. Now I watched American Pie plenty of times. Oh, this Brad. Okay, so Brad telling me. I don't know why it don't show up on what you call it. Yeah, American Pie, Stifler's mom.
Yes.
What age?
I had somebody's mother that I was in high school with started a whole relationship with a 17-year-old. And he looked like he was with it and everything. But once his mom found out, it was one of those Canaan situations.
It say, though the brain may be done growing in its size, it does not finish developing and maturing until the mid to late 20s. The front part of the brain, called a prefrontal cortex, is one of the last brain regions to mature. So yeah, I don't think it's talking about maturity. I think that's just your brain level.
Right. I mean, I just don't think that even at 15, taking on a 31-year-old man would happen.
I'm telling you, if I seen her and I thought she was attractive.
So
I'm telling you.
Let me ask you on the return though. Okay, from everything that I've said and did whatever, but I was kid, so that was definitely wrong, because I was a kid from 5 to 10. I'm a young kid.
Okay.
But you already actually told me you just talked to your daughter. I could not. I've had a situation where somebody much older than me was trying to talk to my daughter. Man, I called him. I want to know what do you want with.
How long ago was this?
Some years.
What's years? Like how old was your daughter?
About 5 years.
So your daughter was 21.
No, so it was been longer than that. She was still in her late teens.
Okay.
And this man was old.
So if your daughter came home and told you that she was attracted to older men, much older men older than you, how would you feel about that then?
I would feel fine about it. Now she's gone. But as a teenager.
Okay. Hold on. So I'm gonna ask you. So are you going by the law? 18 years or older grown? 21 years older grown?
No, 18 or older grown.
For you. So
I mean, if you're still in my home and my perception is going to be different because of my experiences in life.
Right. But that's what I'm asking you.
Right.
So what do you think?
Personally, I still try to stay in my age range, but if that's what she wants, because she's right, that's what she can do. Like, but if it's younger than that, where you're still in high school and I'm taking care of you.
If they in high school, yeah, I agree. That if he older than you,
you're 15 and you okay with the woman.
But but we talking about you. I can understand that. Yeah. Well, if my like I said, I'm not going. No,
I'm talking about as a boy, as a man, as a boy, because y'all think it's
like hold on. So if I was 15 and it was a woman, my mother's age, so 15, I'm gonna go by my parents are 27 years older than me. Okay. So 15, that's 35, 40. Let's say 40. Okay. If someone, prime example, I'm gonna give it to you. So my mama got a friend, fine friend, and when I was in high school, I told my mama, I said, if your friend ever give me the chance, I'm gonna knock her off. You told her? I told my mama this. She was fine. It was so funny. And I'm gonna say it because I don't think my parents watch. My daddy met my mama. They both, her and her friend was at the club. I didn't see my mama at the club, right? Okay. He said he was really going over there to talk to her friend, but my mama the one that bit.
That's how it is sometimes.
So that's what. But her friend, back in the day, she ain't all that now. But back in the day, shit, man, like night, pretty skin, beautiful smile. Like she aged really, really slow. Like she aged really, really slow. And it's crazy because she had like a crazy lifestyle, like not like a fast lifestyle, but like her husband was taking her down through there. Like she was always crying, like coming to spend the night at our house. And one day he had beat her up or something like that or something. It was like she just had a hard life, but she aged so slow. Beautiful body, stayed in shape. Used to always work out because he used to say stuff about her weight, and she gained a little weight. So she would stay, tight. But they divorced, so she kind of gained a little weight. She ain't as tight. But back in the day, I told her like, look, she come out, but she gave me a look. Like one day, and see, this is this thing. One day, it was a time where I was trying to catch her naked, like she was going to change. She said, "You gonna change?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna try to see my way if I can see if she was naked." I'm just saying, like we talking. I'm just being honest, being a guy. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna see if I can see her naked. I never did. And she was always nice and just like she'll pat me on the shoulder, rub me. And like when I started getting older, working, it's like, oh, you getting strong, rubbing in my arms and shit. I'm like, now you know you're doing a little too much now.
See, that's my thing. So if the okay, like okay with it. So what if the older woman was the aggressor? You still wouldn't feel violated in any way?
Hold on, and in some of those situations, they mama knew they were dealing with these dudes, the hopes that these men would take care of their daughters off their hands. That is true too.
That is very true.
Bro, you'd be surprised how many of my mother's friends has tried us or our friends. That's strong. It's not strong. I'm telling you that happens so much.
I guess because I'm living on the other side.
My auntie had a friend. And the first time she came around, big old ass. She wasn't that cute, but she had a beautiful body. And she asked me. She said, "Have you noticed anything change since you hit puberty?" That was she asked me, and I'm like, I didn't know what the hell she meant at the time. Right. And so she asked me one day, and I was like, she asked me if my dick got bigger. Right. So it clicked to me. And so she asked me that one day. I was like, yeah. I was like, you want to see? She's like, boy, gone. So I was like, I know what you mean. That's like, we can handle that right now. From us, she always make that little joke from us. So I was like, I'm going to call her bluff today. I was like, you want to handle that now or what? And I was like, go on. And then she started doing a little stuff like I was in the kitchen. She'll bend over and put her ass on me and stuff like that. Right. And I'm like, okay, and I'm smacking on the booty and stuff like that. Like she didn't care. She didn't stop me and none of that. And I'm in high school. She's like my auntie, like 7 years younger than me. So they probably about 30.
And see, I just never have seen it from that side, from the boy side. So or the young man side or whatever. I just look at it if I'm an adult and just say I bring home a 17-year-old. Because of my situation, I wouldn't feel comfortable.
The thing is, when it comes to women and men, though, what would be crazy is a younger guy could only be sex because he can't take care of you.
Right.
That's the thing. He's just there for sex. He's a toy, and so that's to be the difference. Whereas a younger girl and an older guy, no matter what age, he should be able to take care of that woman.
Right.
So and that's why I said when that dating dynamic, a lot of women always date men because they money, assets, the life they provide, stuff like that. So a lot of women do date up because they know that men their age typically aren't established enough to give them what they need. You know what I'm saying?
That's true, and I guess that can have to look at things that way. Because like I said, I was damaged and whatever. But a lot of my friends and a lot of people I went to high school with, they all dated. They all dated the drug dealers or whatever car was out then. They get dropped off at school. I'm getting on the bus. Their pockets fat. They wearing the latest clothes and doing all those things. But mentally, I wasn't there, and I was like I said, my self-esteem was so low. So.
Yeah, and like I say, like when it comes to that, if I had a daughter, 15, the guy's 30 something, I'ma just ask. I'm just simply gonna ask and try to figure out her mind state. That's really all I'm gonna do. That's all I can do because I'm not gonna press charges on no dude because of that. I don't know what's on his mind. I don't know what's on my daughter's mind. That's why I gotta have that talk. Now she told me she feel like she's taken advantage of, or he coerced her, or he forced her, or he held her down and forcibly raped her.
Right.
Now we got the issue. But if my daughter said, "Hey, I seen this dude. I thought he was very attractive, a well put together older man. I was sexually attracted to, and I wanted to. What can I say?"
Yeah,
and then the thing about it is, how long or how many guys do I have to go through or put in a play before I realize my daughter just like older niggas? Well, I'm gonna check 1, 10, 30. What does it stop? Because I can't check everybody.
I had someone to tell me that they had to just really realize that their child, even though she was young, liked older men.
Yeah.
And that she could not blame the man or even put the man in jail because they were a child.
Right. And that's speaking of that, knowing your child. You seen Jeffrey Dahmer episode?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you, tell me what you think. Tell me yes or no. So I'm gonna ask you. If we can have abortion for kids that have not done any right or wrong, how do you feel about parents being able to kill or quote unquote abort their children if you know they will be a menace to society or has been a menace to society? How do you feel about that? To protect other people in society.
Now if it's a case of that, I don't believe in abortion, but if it's a case where a person has been raped or like Jeffrey Dahmer, because his dad really groomed him to be who he was, according to what we saw. If it's a situation like that, like if I was raped, your father raped me, and this was 9 out of 10, something like that, I do agree.
So you agree that his father should have been able to have the power to put him down?
Yeah, because the signs were there.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm not judging. I'm just asking.
But I really don't believe in abortion. But when you look at things like that, because even though that happened in my era, I was in high school and graduated in 90 and then 91. Like that happened in my era, and I watched the real documentary, which was so sick that I couldn't even like look at it. But when I look at the movie, because I always wondered about his childhood, and to me, his father groomed him into that, and like I say, the signs were there, and I think that's why he cried. I had to realize that they showed it backwards. They showed the end first, and then they went back. Because I was like, why is he crying? And then once I saw, because you groomed him to be.
Yeah, we're going to do a watch party to the actual case of the guy that got away.
Okay.
The one that told, we're going to do a watch party on that. Y'all let me know. So I'm going to ask the question again. Y'all let me know what y'all think. If we can have abortion for kids that haven't showed anything, let me ask the question here. If we can have abortion for unborn kids that haven't done any right or wrong, do you think it would be a good idea to have it where a parent can abort or kill their child if you see signs they're going to be a menace or have been a menace to society, to protect society in a Jeffrey Dahmer type situation? Y'all let me know what y'all think.
That's kind of, now that you break it down like that, it's still.
What? It sound fucked up?
Yeah. But to each his own. I don't agree with politicians telling the person to do what to do with their body.
Right.
I really don't, because that has nothing to do with running like the world, the state, or whatever. Because you never know a person's situation and what happened. But now, if you're talking about a person like Jeffrey Dahmer, that's like, you put me in a mindset of like, wow, so you never look at it like that. But I'm not. Yeah. I won't be the person out there telling somebody else what to do with their bodies.
Right.
But that is something to think about. You look at TV so many times where women have been raped or did whatever, and that child ends up being that same way that father or that person who raped the woman, they end up being exactly like that, and that's scary, and that's, you just don't know. So why, when people are judging or I just don't agree with somebody telling somebody else what to do with their bodies, even though I don't believe in abortion. But if it's a situation like that, that's different.
Right. Yeah, that's the only thing.
Using that teacher as an example, that's a lot of. I think that teachers that's like 23 should not be teaching high school.
You don't think
so? No, because you're too close to the age of your students, and it's gonna happen.
Yeah, because I had a teacher. So I had two teachers, one in middle school, but my high school teacher was so fine. And she was. I'm gonna tell you how fine she was. I'm not attracted to white women. Mm-hmm. She was a white lady. She was fine. And now I'm thinking of, because she just had her birthday not too long ago, and it was like her 40th or something. It was something. And I just did some math in my head. I'm like, we was really in school when she was like 22.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's bound to happen.
And I was like, dang, she literally just graduated high school like 4 or 5 years ago.
And they try to keep Mary Kay. What did she do when she get out? She still married.
Oh, is that the one they had the kids with? Oh, okay. I didn't know who that was. Yeah, because when she got out, they ended up getting married anyway. And see, those are the type of issues you run into. And see, that's why I need my friend on her, because she's a social worker, right? She was telling me a story of a young girl on Facebook, sees this nigga, he popping in the city, right? Mm-hmm. She's 13. She said, if you see the girl, you don't think she's 13. And I don't even know why they let her dress like this and how she goes so unsupervised like this. She hops in the guy's inbox, lies about her age. And she said she said, I'm 30. This girl 13 shaped way better than me. And if a guy seen her, you would not think she was 13. The way she doesn't even talk. She said she doesn't even talk like a 13-year-old. So, because I was like, it's no way a 20-something-year-old boy not gonna know this girl 13. She got to be. He's like, no. She was like, no. She must have taught herself, or been around older people, or been touched, or groomed her, or something like that. Because for her to have this type of understanding to trick this boy into having sex, so they have a kid. Boom, have a kid. Daddy gets upset. Daddy find out that the daughter really liked the boy. So he dropped the charges. The charges get dropped. The state picks up the charge. So now they're trying to put him in jail. He goes to wait on the trial or whatever. Gets out. The girl get pregnant again by him, and they still waiting trial for him to go to trial. Now, what do I do? Do I want to, just because of that, my daughter like this dude, got 2 kids by him. Do I want to put my daughter's baby father in jail without a father, and they like each other? Right. What kind of parent would I be?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm breaking up a home.
But that's why, because you really can't tell with these kids these days. They look much more mature than I do.
Yeah.
And my only advice that I give, like what I would give to my son, is check some ID, like
yeah. But then they could have a fake ID.
That's true.
And that's the crazy part about the law is, even if a woman presents me with her ID, I could still be charged, and she's the one that committed fraud.
That's true. That is very true, and that's scary.
That is so scary. A woman can present me an ID that says that she's over the age or at the age to consent to sex. If she's lying or committing fraud, I could still be charged for her committing fraud.
Right, and then, like you just said, you drop the charges, but the state
picks them up.
Picks them up.
And so we're running into a lot of issues where a lot of these laws, the issue we're having now, people say we need more laws. The issue we're having now, we have too many laws.
Right.
And you can make laws so much simpler with a lot fewer laws, controlling a lot less people's lives. Because me personally, I think for age of consent, I think parents should decide the age of consent for your child. Because you are the parent and you should know what's best for your child. Parents should decide the age of consent for your children. Reasons being because you are raising your child and you should know their mental state. So that means if I have a blanket or a law that says 18 can't consent, I might know my child know to say, hey, my child can't consent to 24. Right. And it should be like a card that we got phones now. It could be a card that's going in a database where I can scan your QR code to see if this is legit.
Right. Because Honestly, the reason why I feel like that, I would feel uncomfortable being that my child is with somebody and they're damn near my age. You see what I'm saying?
See, that makes you uncomfortable. See, that's the thing. I think that us as parents gotta
If they're in my
understand too.
home, you see what I'm saying? Like,
So why they stay with you?
yeah.
I wouldn't feel that way because, like I said, it's not about me. It's not. After I raise my, if I raise my child the way I think, if I'm confident in my parenting, then I'm not gonna feel a way about my daughter coming home with an older dude. And be honest, the way I would raise my daughter anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if she came home with an older guy, because I would know that she would know younger guys, they can't do nothing for you but sex.
Right.
If you're a woman that's on a pursuit to potentially get married, want to be a housewife, don't want to work, all this, you're going to have to marry, especially depending on how fast you're trying to do. You're going to probably have to marry a guy significantly older than you to get that. So let's say you go to high school. Let's say I don't want to go to college. Your best bet or hustle would probably be to marry somebody 35. Would it not be safe to say?
It's true. It's true.
If I know I don't want to work, I want to be at home, I want to have kids, I want to be married, I want somebody to take care of me. If you want to be kept, it's not going to be nobody 18.
No.
It's not going to be nobody 25. Probably not nobody 30. Right. So it's probably going to be somebody. And what women don't do, that they starting to wake up now, see more and more social media, is they waste their youth on guys that's not going to materialize to anything positive in their life. So all these women, while we have the hookup culture where women think they could just sleep around and sleep around, by the time a woman hits 30, back in the day, older women used to tell women that weren't married at 30, they say you an old duckling.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Because women know. Another thing is a man ain't on no time clock.
Yeah,
We men are not on a time clock. Women are. When you get 35, it's considered geriatric pregnancy. They doesn't mean you can have kids, ladies, because I know you're gonna argue. But it's called high risk pregnancy, and it could potentially put you and the baby in danger to get pregnant at that age.
I mean, I was told at 25, my doctor at the time who delivered my children was like, I know it seems like you're a young mother or whatever, but you really did, like, when you get a certain age, your children have grown up and you did whatever. And he explained just exactly what you said. At first, I was looking at him like, what? Because that's what society or your parents and grandparents have told you.
Yeah.
But I was told by a young man in his culture, a boy becomes a man at the age of 13.
I think another thing with men to actually become a man, especially in our community, there needs to be a rites of passage. You need to be able to pass this to show and prove that you're capable of taking on a family, a wife, and kids, protecting them, providing them, giving them wisdom, and raising your children up in a way that goes with our community to make sure that our community traditions and our values stay true. So if we had a rites of passage, a lot of the stuff that we have like going on in our community and right now would not happen. If fathers were in the home, if we made sure that it wasn't incentivized to be, like on welfare and stuff like that, sometimes it would be a lot better for men to come in to those situations. Another thing that's messed us up is social media, right? And so it messed everybody up. But since we're black, we're gonna talk about black people. So with us, you have a lot of women, and I've been talking to a lot of women on the podcast who have crazy numbers or expectations of men. And I tell men every day, you need to let your woman know that you just a man.
That's when the communication comes in,
but women are delusional. Y'all know y'all delusional. Y'all will say one thing, you're talking about, we having communication, we talking. You could tell the woman something 50 million times, and she's still gonna want what she wants.
Most men are not good communicators.
Why you say that?
It's because I guess we communicate different. We're so different. It's like, to me, we're expected to already know. Whereas women, about you are like, where women are emotional beings, but we are communicators.
Mm-hmm.
But you all see it as maybe being a nagger, and it's not really nagging. We're just trying to communicate.
I think you're trying to wrap communication, nagging, all in one thing, because men understand when a woman is trying to communicate, and I know what nagging is. Nagging is typically like a pestering, and keep asking questions, want to know something. Us having a general conversation without raising our voices and getting some great dialogue. It's different. I think men know the difference between that.
And it's great the dialogue, but every man is not like your thought process and everything.
Look, I don't know.
I
haven't dated. I'm gonna say I haven't dated men. Not interested. But
no, I'm just saying from your perspective and from my experience, some men do not know how to communicate. Like they shy away from it. Like,
well, I got to ask you a question. Do you think we attract who we are?
Yes, I do that. I do now. I know that for sure now.
So if men aren't good communicators, do you think you've always been a good communicator if you attract who we are?
Oh, I know I've not always been a great communicator because I was shut down. Mm-hmm. I held things in.
So is that safe to say just the men that you've come in contact with or dated because of maybe some issues you've dealt with is the reason that you come in contact with these men?
That's fair.
Yeah, because like I said, and I had this conversation with women a lot, is a woman argued me down the other day that men are naturally protectors and providers.
No,
and I told her that is not true.
That is not true.
And the reason she thought that, I don't know why she thought that, I'm not gonna lie. She said men are naturally leaders and providers. And I said, as a man, that is not true. I said, I've been on football teams, I've been on basketball teams, I've been on swim teams, I've been in men's groups, I've been at school, I've been in debate clubs, I've been on math derbies, all these places I've been around men, talk to men and understand men and looking through a lens. And it's more men I've said I would never want my daughter to date this type of man. Then I would be like, oh yeah, he a man. Oh yeah, he's a provider, protector. Most men I meet or have met have been very timid, scary, skittish. And now I understand more and more as I get older when we having conversations about the topic we're talking about. And you talk about, well, yeah, I was closed off, I was shy, I was this. That explains a lot of stuff why a lot of men probably are like that.
Right. And that's why I say, when you asked me previously, I learned over the years by growing and being mature now that they fed off of my vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
I know that now.
Mm-hmm.
The younger me didn't know that, even in my 20s, even when I was 30, I didn't even realize.
It's crazy you say that. We was at a party one time, and me and my homeboy and his homeboy was at a party. We see this girl. She's pretty girl, nice shape. He said, "I'll be back. I'm finna go talk to that girl right there. She got low self-esteem." I said, "She got what?" He said, "I can see it on her face. She got low self-esteem. I'm finna go pull her real quick." Walks over there, talks to her, get her number, come back. He said, "I told you she got low self-esteem."
But it had to be revealed to me, and it had to do a lot of soul searching. Yeah. Because I didn't, like I told you, I didn't know me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
So that is true. Like, for some reason, you all can read that, y'all can see it.
But see, I don't pick up. I don't like. See, man, I try to stay. I understand. I think at an early age about being healthy because, like I said, I grew up in a 2-parent home.
Right.
And my dad used to always say, you should want to date a woman that also grew up in a 2-parent home. Do you know I have never dated a woman that grew up in a 2-parent home? I've never. I'm saying, and it's so rare. But at the same time, that was wisdom that I overlooked too. Because that might have been telling me I need to wait a little longer till I find that to marry. Not saying it's bad,
right. I understand what you're saying.
But it could be avoid some issues here, avoid some issues there, and it might be a sign that I might not need to get married if that's so rare to find.
Because the greed hurt people.
Yeah.
And the last marriage that marriage that I had, we were both broken. We had some similarities, but you don't call it molestation. But the same thing happened to him by babysitter. Mm-hmm. But to him, feel like we came straight.
We were just having a conversation next door. Mm-hmm. And it was 4 of us over there. 2 of the 4 people said they were molested by their babysitter. But they didn't call it molestation because we men talking. One of them said, yeah, I was 9 years old. I was like, oh, for real? He's like, yeah, I was 9 years old and she was 16, I think he said, 16, 17. And he was like, yeah. He said, but I wanted that pussy. I said, at 9 years old? In my mind, that's what I thought. I was like, how? At 9 years old, you wanted some pussy? Nigga, at 9 years old, I didn't know nothing. This for me. Now, generation now, because cell phone stuff, you make your kids like hyper. But when I think about high school, porn still wasn't free when I was in high school. Like you literally had to go to certain porn sites and bootlegs and find DVDs your mom and dad left around. So like porn sites not free. Now you can get on your phone and go to any porn site for free.
And it's just like over-sexualized because at a 9-year-old, how would you know you want it at 9?
Right.
It's social media has missed the world.
Right. See, and that's what I'm like, how do you know it? That's what he said. He said, yeah, I wanted that pussy. I'm like, at 9 years old, bro.
You convince yourself now you think that. But
9 years old.
No way. I just told you from 5.
Nigga, at 9 years old, I still remember my brother broke my Transformer toy.
See, that's what I'm saying. I was still playing with Barbie dolls and baby alive and things like that. But like I said, the body is naturally, something's not right about this. Yeah. Nobody has talked to me or whatever, but I know it's not right.
Right.
So at 9 years old, there's no way that you.
Yeah, like that was weird to me. That threw me for a loop. I'm like, bro, I remember because I never forget. My brother, I had this fire-ass Transformer toy. It was like the first toy they had where all the Zords actually connected to each other and you could play with, because they used to have was this like the individual buy the yellow, but they don't actually connect. Right. But you could buy the whole little body. I remember just like it was yesterday. And my brother used to always want to play with my toy. And I said, hey, do not mess with my toy. And for some reason, he was at the house and I wasn't. And he tried to, he said he broke my toy playing with the toy in the tub. I was so pissed because the arm, with how he broke it, the arm did not connect no more.
Yeah, that's why I say it's just, even kids' cartoons, sexualized.
Right. Very.
The kids, even like nothing, there's no innocence in this world anymore. Everything is overly sexualized. Children don't know it, but if you just sit there and listen, I was listening. My grandson was looking at something. All I kept hearing, vagina, penis, stuff. Ass.
Yeah.
I want to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
But he didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "What are you watching?" I actually had to pull over, get out, and it was what is it? Not American Dad, but the other one,
Family Guy.
And I'm like, how did he get from watching dinosaurs and doing all this stuff?
He was on YouTube.
He was on YouTube.
Yeah, that's how.
And I said to his mom, "You let him watch this?" And she was like, "Oh, my daughter said something to me about I need to take it off and just keep kids YouTube on there." I said it needs to come off immediately because he didn't know, but he was so quiet and into it, and I was like, I turned to write that down. I was like, am I here while I'm here? And so, yeah, just because it's a cartoon, all cartoons are not for kids.
Right.
That was clearly an adult cartoon, but he didn't know. He just clicked.
Yeah.
So.
Is there anything, it's getting late.
Yeah,
we probably can have a part 2 for this, but is there anything that you want to tell people about, I guess, the topic at hand, sexual assault or molestation as a kid? I guess signs to look out for when it comes to dating or how to identify if a child is, done that way?
Just communication is the key. Always ask your kids. Let them feel open enough to be able to come to you, like anything. Always ask questions. Talk to them about what we're talking about and let them know that, it's not okay if somebody makes you feel a certain way. I think if, more people do that, then people will, even if they say they're going to kill your family or do whatever, tell them to always tell.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for my special guest to talk about it. The reason she's not on camera once again, she didn't want to be on camera because it was a very sensitive subject for her and her family. I just want to tell you thank you for coming and being brave and talking about it. And hopefully she didn't shake the cobwebs out and we can talk about other topics besides this one. And she'll actually be on camera next time. If you over there on YouTube, make sure y'all like the video, share it, leave us topics in the comment section, let us know what y'all thought about this topic, and most importantly, subscribe. If you're on Facebook, make sure that you share the video, like and follow the page. It's a New Normal Podcast, a place where we talk about what's really real and we gone.